Well, hello folks, Cumberland Outdoorsman here with you again, and welcome back. Today is April the 11th, and it's about a week into the Tennessee turkey season. The turkey season opened actually 2 weeks ago when they had the youth hunt, and then last weekend it was open to the general public. And had a few close calls last weekend, and I'm glad to say that this morning I had a successful hunt. But last weekend I ran into some birds that were on a distant ridge, and I first heard a hen yelping, and then I heard some gobbling right after that was subsequent to that. So I set up a decoy and I started calling, and I noticed that the dominant hen started calling back to me, and when she did that I would hear turkeys gobble, and I would suspect that one of the birds that I killed today was actually amongst that group. So anyway, there was a dominant bird there because I could see him at a distance on the other side of the ridge. So what I did is I started calling to that hen. I started mimicking everything that she did, you know, mocking her. And let me tell you, if you think you're too loud on a call, you don't realize how loud these wild turkey hens can actually call, because they can get very loud, probably louder than you can. And what I was using was a slate call, and every time she would call I would mimic everything she did, as I mentioned. And at first I was just, you know, doing some regular yelping, and then she'd yelp back, and then I was watching her. I tried to get her on video, and video footage wasn't that great, but you could hear the audio. I mean, you could really hear it. And every time I did that, she would call back. She was responding to me and I was responding to her. And there was some gobbling going on in the background, because the gobblers naturally are going to respond to that loud cackling and hen yelping. So it went into calls like this. Anyway, folks, that loud. Sometimes getting loud like that with the hen can really pay off, and you can get even louder by using a glass call. This is an older call here. This is a HS Strut Black Widow. I've had it for many years and it's been very effective. And as you can tell here, the sound is quite a bit higher pitched and more piercing. You can get really loud with that and it'll reach way out there. But a lot of times that'll irritate that dominant hen enough to bring her on in. And you can actually use different strikers. I've got a variety of strikers here. These two here are laminated, and then this one here is ebony and black walnut. And just going back to the slate call, you can hear the difference. Just by using different strikers, you can have a multitude of sounds with the same call. And then going to this one here, much higher, quite a bit louder, completely different sound. And if you went with this glass call here, that's really raspy and really loud. I mean, I can feel that in my ears. Fantastic little call. You can do the same thing with a box call. You can start out quiet. You can get louder with it, more raspy. And then cutting with it. Just with a box call. Box call's been around forever. This one here has two different sides, so you can get two different sounds. That's more like a jake sound to me, like a jake caulking back. And then this one here is an old lynch call. I've called in wild turkeys with this in the past. completely different tone. You know, as long as you keep the cadence pretty much the same as a wild turkey, you're going to call in turkeys. But with these calls, you can call in very soft, and you can get loud. You can vary your call. It's got two sides as well. This has been around forever. This is a legendary old call, actually, and I keep it on my mantle. A lot of memories go with that call, let me tell you. And this calling to the hens, to the dominant hen, like I say, it doesn't work every time, but it works enough of the time where it's well worth trying, you know, because if you've got henned up gobblers, there's not much else that's going to work. Unless you get, you know, some subordinate gobblers that will break off from the group and come and check you out while you're sitting there yelping to try to imitate a hen. But some of these feet that I've saved here from years ago, you can see a lot of these are limb hangers. They got long spurs. These are older gobblers, okay? Big spurred gobblers. This one here has still got the tag on it. It's 2008. You know, these kind of birds are not easily called in, but a lot of these fell because I called in the dominant hen, and because she responded, she drug him right along with her, and he offered a shot, and I was able to take trophy gobbler. You know, you can also do the same kind of calling. You'll have to practice with a mouth call. I just use this cutter call here. This is a diamond cutter. You can get very loud with it, or you can call soft. You always want to start out soft and then work your way up. And if that dominant hen responds to that, that's when you know you need to start doing everything that she does. Mimic every call that she makes. But I'm just demonstrating to you that you can imitate those calls, and you'll see it in the next video. I've got the audio footage, or video footage, and there's a lot of audio with it. The video is not that great. I tried to get on that turkey hen, but she was on another ridge, but she was so loud, I had a hard time keeping up. I mean, she really got with it there. And you'll see that in the footage. And then in the second film that I'm showing you, that was also last weekend, I ran into some birds. There were 2 jakes that came in and 1 dominant gobbler, and he started to come. I had him just about convinced, but at the angle that he was coming in is not where I anticipated he would come in. I thought he'd come in over a little rise where I'd get a shot at him. But what he did is he came in at a totally different angle, and I don't know what it is about these old turkeys. They always come in an angle where you least expect them to come. But he stood up there and he started to come. I was watching him. He was strutting, he was gobbling, and when he got in about 60 or 70 yards, he just stood there and he was looking around for that hen, that sound that he heard, to confirm what he was coming to. You know, they hear the sound, but they don't see the hen. They get suspicious, I think, and a lot of times they'll turn around and they'll head the other way. So there was no confirmation for him. If I had had a decoy out there in the open where I should have, I probably would have harvested that turkey. But anyway, you'll see he actually turned and went the other way, and he didn't come in because he knew something was up, and that turkey finally left. That was actually an example of a bad setup, but that happens to the best of us sometimes. And then the third turkey hunt is a successful one. You'll see that, and I'll have a short intro for that particular hunt, where I called in 2 gobblers and there was a third one further back, and I suspect that was actually the dominant bird, because I saw hens flying down. They were coming in, and I think they were landing in amongst those gobblers, and as soon as I got a response, when they started gobbling back, I know it sounds like I overcalled a little bit, but once they respond to that and they keep gobbling back, you want to keep that up. Don't stop, because a lot of times if you let up, they'll turn around and go with the hens, and with that dominant gobbler they'll leave. But as long as they're gobbling back and you can tell they're getting closer, you need to keep up with what you're doing. They got so close where I could actually hear them spitting and drumming, and I knew it was time to be quiet then and have my gun up. So it was a little bit of a challenge. You'll see where they came in, and I think they spotted me because I had to turn the camera angle to where I got them centered in the picture and get my gun up at the same time to get off a successful shot. So I think all you'll see is the heads, see their heads coming in, and you'll see me make the shot. But without giving too much away, here are those hunts, and hopefully you'll learn something from them. And you know, doesn't matter how long you're in the woods hunting, whether you're deer hunting, turkey hunting, squirrel hunting, whatever, you can always learn from things that you experience. You know, you need to keep it in the back of your mind. Now, what did I do wrong? How come I didn't get that buck or that turkey or whatever? What happened there, you know? And if you think back about all the things that you did, you can learn how to improve on that. And that's the reason I made this video. So this is my first turkey video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll have more to come. Here in Tennessee we're allowed 4 gobblers, and this will be my first one for the year, and also my first turkey on video. So anyway, without giving too much more away about the hunts, here they are, and I hope you enjoy them. And turkeys were right up that way. They were headed that way. And then the last thing I saw, they turned around and went back up this way. Okay, so they're right in there. And that hen's right up in there too. Try calling a little bit more. Maybe if I got her mad enough, she might come down. Coming down the hill. they're going to come over here or not. They seem to be content on that hillside over there. If I get her mad enough, get her to come over here, maybe they'll come my way. Let me wait things out, see what happens here. She's still right there on that hillside. I know them gobblers are right up there. That hen's walking right up here on me. Standing here in the wide open. Starting to get a little nervous there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4 hens right there. Yeah, there are gobblers right up over the hill there. Hard to hold still, standing here. They caught me off guard. Or I caught them off guard, one or the other. If they move on up, maybe I can slip up there a little bit closer. I can get a shot at one of them. Tough to be this close to wild turkeys and not spook them. There's more than one gobbler up there, I know it. I just hear one drumming, spitting and drumming right here. Way off over there. But as Jesus. There you go. There's 2 jakes right there. behind me here. Well, good morning, folks. Cumberland Outdoorsman with you here again on a springtime Tennessee turkey hunt. Today is April the 11th, and I'm happy to say that I was successful in harvesting a fine gobbler this morning. I couldn't do the intro before because when I came in here it was still too dark. So I stepped off in the woods and I was down a couple of 100 yards and I heard the first gobble up here. And I think they were still on the roost up here because as I approached I saw what looked like a hen turkey flying down. And then I heard several gobbles after that and I didn't want to get too close. So, I started slipping in here pretty quiet and I stood right over here on the other side and I heard a crow calling, and right when that happened I heard a gobble right off in that hollow there. And then two more gobbles right after that. So I think there were 3 birds total because there was one with this bird and then there was another bird further down, or further up the holler actually. What I did is I set up here because there's just a little bit of a rise right here and then it drops off, and I figured that by the time they came up here, if they were to come in, be within gun range, and that's the way you want to set up. You don't want to get out where it's wide open where they can see you for a long way because, in this case it probably would have been okay because I had a decoy set up. But if they don't see a hen where they hear the calling coming from and they can see a long ways, a lot of times they won't come in. They'll hang up and they'll stay out of range 60, 70, 80 yards sometimes, and you just can't get a shot, and a lot of times they'll turn and go the other way. So anyway, that's enough talking about the hunt. I don't want to give too much away. Here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. guess I got my gobbler for the day. It worked perfect. There's two of them there. They came in just right. Had a hen decoy right there, and I was set up right there at that tree. That's the way it's supposed to work, folks. Good 2-year-old bird. Nice beard. All right. Well, let me show you what I got set up here. Came out here last weekend and I spotted those birds over on that other side, and they were over on some property I couldn't hunt. Anyway, I was hoping they'd roost in this holler right here, and they did. So I came in here this morning and didn't hear anything right at first. I picked out a tree there and set up. There's my little camera stand right there. That's what, 25 yards? So anyway, we got one for the season. It's good to know because I heard another gobbler further down. That was probably the dominant gobbler. I seen this bird and that other bird that he was with up here last weekend, and they were kind of moving away from that big gobbler. That gobbler, I took him right there on the other side of that tree. There's my hen decoy. Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes it just happens real quick. There's my camera stand right there. And this is a perfect kind of setup. You hear these turkeys gobbling, you don't want to get too close, so that when they come in, you know, they're already within gun range as soon as you can see them. Right there's where I was set up, folks. Folks, now that we got this bird home and got him checked in, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this morning's events and what led up to the successful hunt that I had. Last weekend, as I mentioned earlier, I spotted some turkeys, and they were over across on another ridge, and I heard the turkey gobble, and then I heard some more gobbling, and of course I heard a hen yelping. And what I was trying to do in that video there was to compete with that dominant hen and hopefully bring the whole flock to me, because that has happened before for me in the past. And if you've got any experience at all turkey hunting, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you can get that dominant hen aggravated enough at you, a lot of times, you know, she'll come right over and check out what this other turkey is doing in her territory. And a lot of times when she comes in, she'll bring in all the rest of the turkeys that are with her, and of course the gobbler as well. He'll follow right along behind her. But this morning I heard these turkeys from quite a distance. I heard them first gobble just as it started getting light, and I started going that direction, and as I was walking I could hear them gobbling even more, and I knew I was getting pretty close, so I thought I better stop right here. I was getting ready to blow an owl call or a crow call that I normally keep with me. I don't have it here right now, but very conveniently I heard a crow calling, and as soon as he did that I heard a gobble, and it was just on the other side of that little rise where they came in. So I set up right where I was at and got everything situated, and I wanted to start some soft calling with the slate call. I use lots of different types of calls. I have slate calls, glass calls, box, and I use mouth call as well. But I started out, as you could hear in the video, with that right there. You know, just a nice soft call. And I know it seems like from the video that I was over calling, but what I was actually doing was I saw some other hens fly down and I was trying to keep their attention on me. So every time they gobbled, I responded, and every time I would call, then they would respond. So I wanted to keep that going. So you know, if you keep a rhythm like that going and it's working for you, you need to keep it up, no matter what kind of calling you do. So I kept calling, and then when they got close enough, I could hear the drumming. I mean, it was just right, not too far away from me. When you can hear them spitting and drumming, you're very close to that gobbler. So anyway, all I did was just wait at that time, waited for them to come in and present a shot. And I think I got their heads on video. I'm not real sure. There was a lot of brush in the way, but from where I was standing, or from where I was sitting, I could see the turkeys coming in, and they were both strutting and spitting and drumming. And then when their heads came into view, I knew they were well in range, and I had to get the camera turned and get the gun up at the same time without spooking them to get off a shot. So it's very challenging, let me tell you, because turkeys can see very well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that hunt, and like I say, I'm thankful to take this fine bird. Thank the good Lord for everything that I harvest, no matter what it is, and for giving me the opportunity to be able to get outdoors and enjoy it as much as I do. And at a time like this, when everyone's alarmed about the virus that's going around, you know, there's no better place to be than in the outdoors, to get away from everyone, you know, stay away from people. So get out there and enjoy the outdoors while you can. And you know, I'll leave you with that. I'll close off with that. If you enjoy hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, whatever it is, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Get out there and do it. Right now is the best time. We have great weather, you know, the temperatures are good, and the opportunities are out there. So anyway, remember also, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and subscribe. And that way you'll know when more videos like this will be coming your way. So until next time, my friends, y'all get out there and enjoy the great outdoors like I mentioned, and have a wonderful time. We'll see you next time.